Hello friends, welcome back to Value Vintage Cards. Today I'm going to be doing a VR for my good friend Mark over at Mark's Dodgers Cards. Really excited to be able to participate and contribute and help celebrate Mark's 1 year on YouTube and to just, celebrate everything that he brings. Really good friend, somebody that I keep in contact with on a very regular basis, and very, very fun to just see his journey, his progress, and his community growing, and have a new friend in the hobby. So congratulations, Mark. Very, very happy for you. Always appreciate everything you bring and everything you share. So a couple things. He asked us to share our favorite team from our favorite set kind of items, cards. I call it items by default, so you'll see why. I struggle there just a little bit. Growing up in extreme northwest Indiana, I would say I was from like Chicago, Indiana, essentially. So I could ride my bike to the east side of Chicago. My first day at Little League practice, I showed up with a Cubs hat and sock shirt, or vice versa, but my nickname instantly just became Chicago because they're like, "You like Chicago?" I'm like, yeah, why? I didn't realize that wasn't a thing. So I have a hard time picking a favorite team, and maybe that's the psychological roots of why I'm a player collector, not a team collector. Is I had divided family fandom. My aunt was a regular at Cubs and would hang out, at bars and meet some of the players and whatever else. She was like a super fan. She really liked the Cubs and watched the games and everything else, and had a lot of Cubs fans in the family. On the other side, my grandfather was diehard Sox. They said if you gave him, a ticket for free money to go to Wrigley Field, he would pass. He would not support the Cubs or anything they stood for in any way, shape, or form. So he was Comiskey Park all the way. So I ended up somehow, they didn't necessarily contaminate me with any of the negative energies, but their super fandom was definitely contagious. And then I also spent summers down in Georgia, so all of a sudden I have all this Atlanta fandom too. So I ended up being a player collector, is the really long way to get there. So that said, I'm going to share cards from a set that has some of both Chicago teams in my collection, and also just some players that I collect. So I'll run through about 10 of those as quick as I can. And I also want to shout out the 3 channels. He said shout out 3 channels that you watch. Obviously I could shout out a good dozen very good friends that I would want to always support, but 3 channels that I don't know if I've mentioned or if I have not enough, and a couple of them are fairly new channels, and one of them is a channel that I watch regularly too, that is a good friend in the community. So the 3 I'm going to shout out are Vintage Dave T. Dave's channel, if you watch that, I feel like he has such a very deep knowledge, and every time you watch a video you come away saying like, learned something, and that's, to me, that's a sign of a channel you want to watch. So always appreciate Dave. He's a great contributor, great commenter, and we go back and forth and discuss, and he's just an awesome guy and great channel. Cardboard Coach Neil, newer channel, collects, I would say, exactly like me. I think we're going to be probably communicating, daily, weekly, for the next, 40 years, because Neil's mindset of what he looks for, what he finds interesting, is exactly in line with me. So anyone that would take the time to pause and watch a couple minutes with me, check out Neil. Fantastic channel. Still early in, but already sharing items that are just phenomenal and rarely seen, and if they are often seen, it's because they're awesome. So go check out his channel. And the other one, number 3, Jayhawker Vintage Cards. Mike is tremendous, fantastic guy. Love hearing about his collecting journey. You know, just again, I feel like instantly just in my friend circle on YouTube. So fantastic guy, great channel. Videos are always, you know, entertaining, informative, all the good stuff that you want. So go check them out. So those are my shout outs. The set that I picked, again, picking a set is impossible for me. So this is a set I've been wanting to feature because it has so many cool things, and it's one that I will say I search for probably on the daily, because some of these things, when they come up, it is your one and only shot to get it. So if I see it, I tend to jump. It is a, what year do they call this? 1909 to 1913. So giving it a range of time being published. M101-2. I'm going to say this is my favorite for a few reasons. One, it's oversized. Two, it's pre-war. You're already checking all the boxes. I think three, if I remember right, I think John Mangini said he doesn't have any from this set. Instantly awesome, cool. John's going to go pick up 10 of them now. But realistically, what that tells you is that it is a set that maybe hasn't been on the radar. I'm sure this should check all the boxes for John too. But for somebody that has that type of amazing, ridiculously fantastic collection, to not have any means it is something that is, you know, not a checkbox for everybody. And so for me, that's what's interesting and exciting, and that's why I've been diving into it even more. So let's run through. We're 6 minutes in, I haven't even shown you a darn card. So picked up the John McGraw. Just for an idea, these ungraded can go for, I mean, if you get a non-Hall of Famer, you know, dozens of dollars, 30, 40, 50 bucks, 100 bucks if it's better condition. These tend to have rips, they tend to have some different issues, but the John McGraw is, you know, pretty standard. The image, it's great. It looks like somebody pinned it up and ripped it off. They're like 8x10-ish. I'm sure they're not really 8x10. They're probably 7 and something by 9 and something. But they're in an 8x10 top loader. This one I just showed. This one came in at a very good deal. These can get up to being like comma price items. So this Tris speaker. Some of the other cool things on this is you usually get a little bit of a nice box to describe the who and what. So this one says Tris speaker, Boston American League. Get in as close as I can on that to make that make sense. And then at the top, one of the neat things you get is a little sporting news indicator there. Will usually tell you the exact day. So this one says St. Louis, December 2nd, 1909. So you know the day this came out in print and circulation. All right, so I think I do have 10, which is also kind of a fun, monumental reason to share these. This one was a big auction pickup, and it's a player that I definitely enjoy collecting. And my good friend Doug, another channel you should check out, JoeWoodCollector, just picked up one of these while I was with him in Strongsville. We'll just add Doug as a 4th channel you should watch. See if I can name drop a few more as I go through here. This one is interesting. This item is actually circulated in different circles. Facebook, I saw a couple of big dealers having it. I saw some private sellers having it, and finally it somehow came around to me. The price was all over the gosh darn place. But once it landed with me, it's home. It's done being circulated. That is one of, you know, again, I always say, like, is that a top 10 card in my collection in terms of just awesome, you know, hard to get image, all those things that I look for. So the Ty Cobb, I think that image is just phenomenal. Can't get enough of that image. It is a, let's see, when was this issued? August 12th, 1909. And then even like the corner, it's, you know, Tyrus. That always does it for me, but that image is just so darn good. So that's a big one. That's one of the bigger ones in the set. This is the set also that I'm kind of chasing right now because they've got that Ty Cobb, Honus Wagner shaking hands image in this set, and have it this size would be phenomenal. There's a Joe Jackson. I'd love to acquire that at some point. So that's maybe the two big ones that I would need to get. I think Ty Cobb's probably the next biggest. There's a Honus Wagner by himself. So there's some monsters in this set that would be worth pursuing. Next up, we'll go with some Nap. Napoleon Lajoie. Nap. When I was a kid, we saw this like in, I don't know, Tough Stuff or something like that. We're like, Nap Lajoie, all right. How much is Nap Lajoie? So if you ever hear me say Nap Lajoie, it's because, you know, 10 and 12-year-old Aaron always said Nap Lajoie. I had no way to know it was Nap Lajoie. So, but what a cool image. Look at that bat. He is bringing a club to the game. That thing is insane. What a cool image. They do a few of these. I don't have the Walter Johnson yet, but they do kind of a, you know, OG combo card. This thing, Cy Young. So you get a lot of them where they're like shaking hands with their catcher. So to get a Cy Young, I feel like these get maybe the combo card penalty just a little bit. It's a little bit less expensive than I would have guessed for a Cy Young of that era. And maybe it's because the catcher brings down the average. People are not as big of fans of two players on one item. I don't know. But I'll take a Cy Young all day. I think that's pretty fantastic. So it's Louis Krieger, I believe. I've heard of him. Again, that's another one that I don't hear the name said, but I believe that's how you'd say his name. And then the other thing that's neat, so for Cy Young, they put Denton T. Young. So, you know, I always love those name variations. That, of course, is his real name, but you usually see Cy everywhere, so it's cool to see Denton. Next one, we'll go back to Doug. I was with him when he bought the Addy Joss, and then I went home and must have had his channel on my mind, or his player collecting on my mind, because I picked up a Joe Wood. Again, you want best images out there, this set will do that for you. So if you're looking for something that's like poster size, almost, you know, it's 8 by 10, it's awesome for display. Look how big that thing is. That's huge. But what a ridiculously great image, right? If you're looking for Joe Wood items, it's hard to get anything better than that. So very excited to have that. Last three, I'm going to hit my Chicago fandom. I guess the only White Sox player I have, not even a player, it's Charles Comiskey. I think that's awful cool. So, pretty gosh darn good. There is a Christy Mathewson in the set too. So Mathewson, I definitely would encourage folks, if you're a Mathewson collector, check that one out. That's a really cool image and cool item. That's one I would like to add at some point as well. But this thing's pretty gosh darn neat. The Comiskey. Sometimes they come up. Every so often you'll see one. I don't know that I've seen two of many of these ever on auctions or Facebook or eBay or any place else you'd find these. Been trying to maneuver through one. There was one that was a pretty nice opportunity for my buddy Jason, Everyday Card Collector. I was trying to get him to maybe check that out, but we'll see if it works in. Last two, I'm going to go to the other Chicago team and go with some Cubs. This is interesting. Beckett, we all know, you know, obviously Beckett for the win, because Beckett is going to be just a little more generous on their grading, and for that reason I feel like collectors punish them and treat everything like it's a grade or two lower. This one came out at a 1.5, which is a little silly because there actually is some like pinhole at the top. To me, that should be a little more of a harsh punishment maybe, but the rest of the card looks amazing, right? The corners are actually really solid. The image is perfect, which these, I think that's one of the things I like, is you get them in a A or 1 or mark or whatever, and it's because the backs are all blank. I haven't really shown any of the backs, but a lot of times you'll see tape or writing or different things on the back. But this Frank Chance, between the jersey, the image, the detail you get with these is just so cool. Looking at his little glove, the field, I absolutely just love that. So that would be number 9. Number 10, I think, is this the first or second one I ever had? I think Comiskey and this one were the first 2. And in this set, of course, if I'm going to have anything, I'm going to have the 3-finger Brown. So Mordecai Brown, again, insanely great image. Take a look at that image of his hand. You can't necessarily see the famous hand quite as clean, but I mean, it's a good image of his hand. It's just you can't necessarily tell his physical condition of his hand. But I mean, just wonderful image. So that'll be my set. Sorry to be a little bit lengthy, but I did want to dive in and explain why I couldn't pick necessarily a team, and I explained way more than needed maybe on the set, because Mark said share at least 3. I just showed 10, but I think that's all I have from that set. I believe that's all of them I've got right now, but I just wanted to pull them and run through. So hopefully it's fun. Mark, circle back, absolutely super happy for you. Great to have connected and got a chance to get to know you and meet you and have you in my circle. So congratulations, my friend. I will catch you all on the next video. Take care.